War used to be a waiting game. You moved, then you fired, and you prayed the enemy didn't fire faster. Then came the Browning automatic rifle, the birth of true walking fire, the gun that turned defense into offense. Built by John Browning in 1918, the BAR didn't just change weapons, it changed what a single man could do in battle. In this video, we'll break down how it works, why it was unstoppable, and the genius that made it legendary. If you love deep mechanical breakdowns and precision engineering, subscribe and let's get started. The beauty of the BAR lies in its mechanical simplicity. It used a gas-operated long-stroke piston system, one of the most reliable systems ever designed. Here's how it worked. When a round fired, a small hole in the barrel siphoned off some of the expanding gas. That gas pushed back a piston connected to the bolt carrier, forcing the bolt to unlock, eject the spent casing, and load the next round. It fired from an open bolt, which meant that before each shot, the bolt stayed locked to the rear. Pulling the trigger released it forward, feeding and firing the round in one motion. This design helped with cooling. No hot round ever sat in the chamber and reduced the risk of accidental cook-offs during long bursts. Each BAR magazine held 20 rounds of .30-06 Springfield ammunition, a cartridge known for its range, accuracy, and power. Those 20 rounds could be unleashed in just over 2 seconds on full auto. The original M1918 version had a fixed firing rate of around 500 to 600 rounds per minute, while the later M1918A2 variant added a rate reducer for a slower, more controlled setting around 300 to 450 rounds per minute. Weighing about 16 pounds empty and nearly 20 pounds loaded, it was heavy, but compared to the water-cooled machine guns of the time, it was revolutionary. Soldiers could run, drop prone, and immediately lay down automatic fire. It didn't jam easily, it didn't overcomplicate things, and it was built with Browning's obsession for reliability. The BAR wasn't just a weapon, it was part of a tactical shift. The concept of walking fire wasn't just military theory, it was a psychological weapon. Imagine an entire line of soldiers advancing, each one firing short bursts as they moved forward. The BAR made that possible. Its job wasn't to snipe, it was to dominate space. Even if each bullet missed, the sound and the sheer chaos overwhelmed defenders. This tactic was especially critical during trench warfare, where static defense had made battles painfully slow. Before the BAR, advancing troops relied on machine guns far behind the front line. Once the BAR entered the fight, suppression traveled with the soldiers. It turned the tide of momentum. A single gunner could deliver enough firepower to pin an entire enemy position long enough for his squad to close the distance. Although walking fire proved physically demanding, firing a 16-pound rifle while marching through mud wasn't easy. It marked the beginning of a new era of mobile warfare. The BAR turned infantry into assault teams, not just bodies charging into gunfire. Every detail of the BAR came from a careful balance between power and practicality. Its .30-06 round gave it unmatched penetration and reach, capable of cutting through light cover and even vehicle panels. The open bolt firing mechanism kept the system cool, while the gas piston offered smooth cycling and fewer malfunctions. Unlike belt-fed guns, the BAR's box magazines made it more mobile. A gunner could carry multiple magazines in pouches, reload in seconds, and keep advancing. That independence was the key difference. It let soldiers fight fluidly rather than as static teams. By World War II, the M1918A2 model had refined the design further. It added a bipod for stability during prolonged engagements, a flash suppressor, and 2 rate of fire settings. Yet many frontline soldiers removed the bipod, preferring to save weight. The A2 replaced semi-automatic mode with 2 automatic speeds. Browning's weapon had fully embraced its identity as a light machine gun. The BAR changed how squads operated. A typical U.S. squad in World War II assigned one gunner to carry the BAR, supported by an assistant gunner and a third man carrying spare magazines. Together, they formed a mobile fire team that could attack and maneuver without waiting for support weapons. In defense, the BAR anchored positions. In offense, it cleared paths. Soldiers would alternate between firing short bursts and sprinting between cover, turning the battlefield into a rhythm of movement and fire. Even when exhausted, the psychological comfort of having a BAR in the squad was immense. One gunner could make enemies hesitate before ever showing their heads. However, the BAR wasn't flawless. The small 20-round magazine meant constant reloading. The lack of a quick change barrel made sustained fire risky. The barrel could glow red after several magazines. Still, those who carried it loved it. In their words, it was heavy, but it worked when nothing else did. The BAR fought in every American conflict from World War I to Korea. In the Pacific, Marines used it to flush Japanese soldiers out of caves and bunkers. In Europe, it provided cover during urban street battles and hedgerow assaults. During Korea, where the cold froze lubricants and jammed many weapons, the BAR kept running. Proof of Browning's brilliance. While soldiers learned to trust the BAR in every corner of the battlefield, few realized just how fast this weapon had come to life. That story begins in 1917, when America entered World War I and quickly realized its rifles couldn't match the demands of modern warfare. The U.S. infantry carried the Springfield M, 1903, accurate but slow. Machine guns like the French Chauchat or the British Vickers were devastating but immobile, needing teams and tripods. The U.S. Army needed something that could move, a weapon one man could carry, capable of automatic fire, reliable in mud, and fast to reload. Enter John Moses Browning, arguably the most influential firearms designer of all time. When the Army asked for a light automatic rifle, Browning didn't just tweak an old design. He invented something entirely new. Within months, he unveiled the Browning Automatic Rifle, or BAR, chambered in the powerful .30-06 Springfield cartridge. It was officially adopted by the U.S. Army in 1918 and sent into combat before the war even ended. The BAR wasn't meant to replace the rifle or the machine gun. It was the bridge between them. Browning envisioned it as the infantryman's walking fire weapon, something soldiers could fire from the hip while advancing. It was a revolutionary idea. Keep the enemy suppressed, keep the soldiers moving, and never let them lift their heads long enough to aim back. The BAR's magic wasn't just in what it could do, it was in how it did it. Most machine guns of the era were designed for teams, emplacements, and sustained fire. The BAR was designed for motion. It let one man move, shoot, and dominate his immediate surroundings. That philosophy that a single soldier could carry automatic firepower shaped everything that came after it. From the German MG-34 to the modern M249 SAW, every squad automatic weapon traces its lineage back to the BAR's core principle: mobility plus firepower. It also set a new standard for durability. Unlike many wartime designs that cut corners, the BAR was built from solid milled steel and heavy components. It wasn't meant to be disposable. Even decades later, many BARs still function flawlessly with minimal restoration, a testament to Browning's engineering mastery. When the BAR was finally phased out in the late 1950s, it left a massive legacy. It had served in 3 major wars, countless smaller conflicts, and even found new life in law enforcement. The Colt Monitor, a lighter, semi-automatic version, became famous with the FBI and police during the gangster era, while criminals like Bonnie and Clyde infamously modified stolen BARs for their own use. Beyond its real-world service, the BAR became a cultural icon. It appeared in classic war films, documentaries, and even modern video games. Its slow, thundering rate of fire and solid metal frame came to symbolize American firepower in the 20th century. But perhaps its greatest legacy lies in what it taught the military. The BAR proved that mobility and suppression could coexist. It paved the way for the development of squad-level automatic weapons, guns designed to move with the infantry, not behind them. In many ways, the BAR was the ancestor of every modern assault rifle. John Browning didn't live to see how far his invention would go, but his fingerprints are all over modern warfare. He understood that the battlefield rewards versatility, not complexity. The bar wasn't the fastest, lightest, or most precise, but it was balanced. Every inch of it reflected a design philosophy rooted in purpose. He built it to withstand mud, grit, and exhaustion. He built it so a soldier could fight back while moving forward, and he built it with the kind of foresight that defined a century of small arms design. Even today, military historians and engineers study the BAR as the weapon that bridged the gap between bolt-action rifles and modern automatics. The Browning automatic rifle wasn't just a weapon, it was movement, momentum, and mastery forged in steel. John Browning didn't just build a gun, he built a new kind of soldier, one who could fight while advancing. The bar's echo still lives in every squad weapon today. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe, because behind every great weapon lies an idea powerful enough to change the battlefield forever.